A long time ago, in a small village called Rang Bahar, there lived a poor potter named Bakhtu. Every day he worked hard shaping clay into beautiful pots. When evening came, he loaded the pots on his donkey and carried them to the city to sell. Despite his endless effort, life was never easy. Money was scarce, but Bakhtu stayed honest and devoted to his work. Every evening, Bakhtu trudged through the cobblestone streets of the bustling city, his donkey carrying a heavy load of beautiful pots, hoping to catch the attention of potential buyers. At night, he would sit by a flickering lantern outside a small stall, surrounded by unsold pots, gazing up at the starry sky, harboring a hint of hope in his heart. Near the village stretched a dense forest where a fierce lion lived. This lion terrorized the villagers, attacking people and killing their animals. Many times the villagers tried to capture it, but the lion always escaped. Soon everyone became so frightened that no one dared step outside at night. But Bakhtu, the potter, remained focused on his pots, digging clay, drying it in the sun, and firing it in his kiln. One evening, after selling his pots, Bakhtu returned exhausted. Too tired to tie his donkey in the stable, he fastened it to a tree in his yard and went to sleep. That night, a wild storm swept through the forest. Trees fell, thunder roared, and lightning lit the sky. The lion, frightened by the storm, searched for shelter and hid inside an old abandoned hut near the village. Later that night, Bakhtu woke to the sound of heavy rain. Suddenly, he remembered his donkey tied outside. Rushing out, he found only a broken chain. The donkey was gone. As Bakhtu navigated the stormy night, the roar of thunder echoed around him, masking other sounds. He felt a mixture of fear and urgency, realizing that his beloved donkey was lost in the wild elements. After an hour of searching the donkey, he came upon the hut. In a flash of lightning, he saw a large animal sleeping at the doorway. "Ah, there you are, you stubborn donkey!" Bakhtu exclaimed. Without realizing it was a lion, he scolded and slapped the beast 2 times for running away. Then he jumped on its back, tied a rope, and dragged it home. The lion, terrified by this strange man who dared strike him, thought, "If I disobey him, he will surely kill me." Trembling, the lion submitted. Nasir tied it to a tree and went to sleep. The villagers' surprise. At sunrise, villagers passing by froze in shock. Tied to Bakhtu's tree was none other than the fierce lion that had haunted them for so long. "It's the lion!" they shouted. "Bakhtu has captured it with his bare hands." News spread quickly. Everyone praised his bravery, though Bakhtu himself was confused. He still thought he had only brought back his donkey, but when he looked closely, his eyes widened. "This is no donkey! This is the lion!" At the same time, the Raja of Rang Bahar faced a grave threat. His neighbor, King Rang Shuja of Dagestan, was preparing to attack. Despite having a brave army, Rang Bahar's forces were much smaller, leading the Raja to realize he needed a fearless commander. One of his ministers, Fateh Khan, proposed a surprising choice, a man from their own kingdom who had captured a lion with his bare hands, Nasir Bakhtu, the potter. Who else could lead them better? Nasir Bakhtu, though humble in origin, stood tall before the Raja, the weight of the kingdom's hopes resting upon his shoulders. As the courtiers whispered among themselves, their skepticism began to fade, replaced by a sense of emerging respect for the potter. Impressed, the Raja summoned Bakhtu the potter, and when Bakhtu learned he was to become commander of the royal army, he was stunned. "But I am just a potter," he thought, yet he could not refuse the Raja's order. At home, he groaned to the lion. "All this is your fault. If you had stayed a donkey, I would still be making pots. Now I must lead an army." His wife only smiled. "Do not complain. This is your good fortune. Trust God. It is the beginning of better days." The next morning, Bakhtu stood before the Raja's soldiers, his heart trembling. But remembering his wife's words, he took a deep breath and acted with confidence. Soon word arrived, the enemy army was advancing. Bakhtu knew brute force would not win, so he devised a clever trick. He ordered his men to gather donkeys, horses, and cattle from the villages. At night, he tied burning torches to their backs and drove them toward the enemy camp. From afar, the sight looked like thousands of warriors charging in the dark. The enemy soldiers looked bewildered and afraid, seeing the chaos approaching their camp. Bakhtu and his men hid in a nearby thicket, watching intently as fear spread among the enemy ranks. Panic spread through the enemy ranks. They abandoned their camp weapons and supplies. To strengthen the illusion, Bakhtu loudly declared before his men, "In our army, soldiers train by wrestling lions." A spy carried this tale back to Shuja's court. Hearing it, the enemy king shuddered. If this man can capture lions, his soldiers must be invincible. Fearful, he offered peace instead of war. King Shuja, overwhelmed by fear, decided to send envoys to Bakhtu, extending a hand for peace. Meanwhile, Bakhtu and his men reveled in their unexpected victory, believing their reputation had scared the enemy into submission. The envoys, trembling yet determined, approached Bakhtu's camp with an offer of peace that could end the conflict. Bakhtu, intrigued by their proposal, listened carefully, knowing that every word exchanged could change the course of their destinies. Raja was overjoyed. He declared a grand celebration and showered Bakhtu with gold land and high rank. From a poor potter struggling for survival, Bakhtu became a respected commander. Yet he remained humble, never forgetting his roots. One day, as he sat with his wife in their grand home, she smiled and said, "See, sometimes what looks like a problem becomes a blessing. If that lion had not come into our lives, would we be sitting here today?" Bakhtu laughed. "You're right. Who would have thought mistaking a lion for a donkey would change my destiny?" With newfound resolve, Bakhtu sets out from his village, ready to embrace his unexpected fate and face whatever challenges lie ahead. As he travels, Bakhtu meets a wise elder who imparts valuable lessons, igniting a spark of hope and purpose within him. With each passing day, Bakhtu inspires his community, teaching them the importance of courage and unity, transforming their lives together. Standing on a hill, Bakhtu reflects on his journey, knowing that true greatness comes not from power, but from uplifting those around him. That night, as laughter fills the air, Bakhtu realizes the true treasure lies in connection, community, and the joy of shared experiences.